Hi again. I'd like to continue the discussion of parse. And, so far I have this simple app here. It's not very exciting. We're just, kind of showing the features of parse here. And, if I click on one of the names here, like Hello Parse, then it loads the post right here. And it loads the title and the author and the comment. So my username is hello, right? If I click on this one, it says, maybe one of these guys, I think I have a second user that named test. Yeah, see, this one shows test, right? And the question came up, how would we load this information into another, like a second web page? Okay, and that's not very hard to do. Let's do it, okay? So the goal here is to, create a link here that's going to take us to another page, and we can just do that with an anchor tag, name that page, right, in the href. And then the thing we need to do, though, is we need to pass the ID of the post. And remember, if you recall, every post has a unique ID. And in my example, I put the ID, I think I put it up here on the post, right? So we can get this ID, and if we look at parse.com, let me do it here like this, right? Parse.com. And I should have opened this up before I started the video, right? But here we are, and I'll go to my apps here. Any moment now. Yeah, so here's my app here. And you can see every post here. I have 26 posts, and every post has a unique ID. So if we have the ID, then we can pull up specifically, this post or another post, right? So how are we going to do that? Like, we can, everybody probably knows how to make a link that's going to go to another page, but how do we pass along the ID to that other page? Well, we can do it in the URL with the hash string. So imagine at the end of the URL, it's a little hard to read here, but we'll add a name, right? So it'll have that hash mark, the number sign on the end, and then it can be, any random set of characters, or this will actually be not random, but it'll be the ID of the post, right? And then the other page can read this off the URL. Okay, so how are we going to implement that? Well, let me go here to my files, and this is the file that I'm viewing right now. And for this test, I'm going to kind of make this like a side example. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate the file, and I'll call it index number 1. And then we're going to load that one here. So I'm working off the copy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify this file. So let me open this in brackets here. And if you recall, we have this function here called getPosts. So this gets every post, and it lists them on the page. Right now, my posts are, they are an li tag with an h3 and an anchor inside. And the href right here is saying where we're going to go. And right now it's set to the ID. But what I want to do is I want to actually go to another page, which I'm going to call detail.html. Okay? So the href here for this anchor is now going to point to detail.html. And then what I want to do is I want to take the ID of the post and put it on the end here, but I want to include the hash mark in front of it. Okay? So there we go, right? So now we're kind of partway there. And I have a little trouble here because if I just run this as it is, if you recall, all of the links here, when we create, these links, they get handled through a JavaScript, which is up here where it says list posts on click, and then it's when you click the anchor tag, it's going to do all this code. And so what I want to do now is I don't want to do this. So I have this code here because I was going to handle the clicks for those links. My previous, iteration of this page handled those clicks inside this page, right? So I don't want to do that anymore. I just want the anchor tag to do its regular business. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out this whole thing. If you're gonna just handle stuff with by going to another page, then you can just delete that. But I might want to put this back in there later. So I'm just going to put a big comment here. So now this is no longer going to handle my links. Instead, my links are going to do what their default behavior is, which is to take us to detail.html. Okay, so we'll take a look at that, and then I'll refresh this here. And now if I look at one of the links here, you'll see that the link has the href, and it says detail.html hashmark and then the ID for the post associated with that link. And if I click on it, you can see here's the address here at the top, and the hash is in here, right? Like the little hash mark and the ID. Now, of course, it says web page not found because I don't have any file in here called detail.html. So what we want to do is make another page that is essentially going to do everything that I commented out up here. Okay, it's going to do all of this. It's going to find a post by its ID and then print all that information into the page, just like we have here. Okay, so let's make that happen. I'm going to select the page that we just created, duplicate it to create a copy. So I just did on the Mac, I just did Command D. You can do copy and paste, I think, too, right? And then I'll change the name of this page to detail.html. Okay? And now I'll open up detail.html. Here I am, right? And then this page has a lot of extra stuff in it. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the current user, the login form, the sign up form. Maybe I'll delete the create post form. And then this little section here that says post detail, that's what I'm going to use to display the post, because the code down there already works with this, so we won't have to rewrite it. I mean, you could change it too if you want, but just for this example, to keep things short, I'm going to leave this block here and use this to display my post. I'm not going to list all the posts. This page is only going to display a single post. So this UL list posts right here is where the posts are normally listed, right? Those links. So I'm going to delete that. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now I cleaned up my HTML a little bit. And then now let's go. I'll just clean out some of this JavaScript. So I need the parse initialize, and I think we'll need this post and comment class variables there, but I don't need this post comment form because we took out the form, and I don't need the login or the check login, and I don't need the log out function, and I don't need this log in thing here or this other one that says sign up. And I'm being careful not to accidentally delete one of the other parts of another script above or below, right? Or leave like one of the curly brackets behind, right? So I'm just getting the whole function from the beginning to the end. Now this little block in the comment is what I want to keep. I'll leave that there, and I don't need to do this get posts thing anymore. So we'll get that all the way down to here, plus the call to get posts. So I don't think I need that. And then I don't need this post form anymore because this let us create a new post. So I'll delete all that. And then we're good to go. So now let me get rid of this comment here. And what are we going to do here? Right. Well, this one is set up using jQuery to add an action to an anchor tag. So you'd click on one of those links and then it would load the data. But you know what? We're just going to do this directly from a function. So I'm going to delete the first line here, and then I'm going to delete the last line, which is the curly bracket, the parentheses, and the semicolon. right? And then you notice brackets is trying to tell me that red, with the red curly bracket, that doesn't have a matching one anymore because I deleted it up on top, right? So we'll delete that. And then what I want to do is I want to wrap all this in a function, maybe would probably be a good idea, okay? So I'll make a new function here. I'll make a function, it'll say get post by ID. And now, I have a curly bracket here and it shows red because it doesn't have a matching one. So we'll put the matching one at the bottom here. Oops, I gotta face it the right direction. Okay. So now we got this function here that can maybe get us a post by the ID. So let's put a variable here so we can pass the ID to this post or to this function, right? Okay. And then how are we going to get the ID? Now, if you remember, we'll give this a try here, right? It's not going to work yet, though, but we'll just show it, right? So here's my page. And if I click a link, like I click on Parse's Fun, then it goes to the detail HTML page, right? And then here we are at the detail HTML page. And you can see the ID here, right? And then I guess I left the form in there. I got to delete that, right? But then our post is going to show there, right? Let's go back again. Okay. Let me delete that extra form there. Oh yeah, here it is at the bottom here. So I got my post. This is for the comment form, so maybe we don't need this, right? Yeah, there we go, right? That'll be simple. Okay, so how do we get the hash thing out of the URL, right? So that's the hash is at the end of the URL. Like here, we'll do it again. I go here, and then everything after the hash mark. How do I get that? So we're going to do this. Let's do a little test here. We'll do console dot log window dot location, right? And if I log the window location, we'll pull up the console here, right? And then I'll refresh this page, and you can see it says location, and then it gives me all this stuff. And actually, that hash mark is part of the location there. See, it says hash at the end, right? So so we can actually get that property if I do if I type in hash at the end here, like window.location.hash. Watch what happens. Oh, it tells me the hash at the end of the URL. Okay, so the one little problem is it's got this extra character in it right here, so we want to remove that. So for any string that you get, you can split it into a substring, right? So we'll use their string has a function called substring. So we can type, since all of this produces a string, then we can do any function of string on the end with the dot. So I'll say substring, it's like sub str, and then this takes a couple parameters. It takes from number and a length. So it says, like, where are you going to start in the string to begin creating a substring? And if you start on character 0, then you're starting from the first character. Actually, I want to create a substring starting from the second character, right? So that'll be the character after the hash mark. So I'll put a 1 here, and then I won't put the length in, and it'll give me the rest of the string, okay? If I wanted to just get a couple characters, like the next 3 characters, I could put comma and 3, right? So now let's try this. So I got window location hash substring. We'll save that. I'll give it a quick test here. Oh, look, and there's the ID, okay? So now all we need to do is call on this get post by ID and pass, this business here to it, and then it should load our post. Let's try it, right? So I'll copy this, and then, I'm going to get this whole thing here and paste it in there. So now we got, we got to make sure we got the right number of parentheses, right? So this one matches the one on the end, and then these two go together right there, right? Okay, let's give it a try. So I'll save that. And then again, you could modify this here if you want the detail page to be the same, but just for this example, to keep it short, I just kind of, transplanted the detail information from the other page into this one, right? So essentially here what's going to happen is, actually, you know what, I got to get rid of this event prevent default too. That's not going to do anything for us here. So essentially what's going to happen here is we're going to get, actually I got to get rid of this too, I guess. We're going to pass the ID in. We're going to make a new post query or parse query for a post object. And then we're going to say, hey, let's do the query where object ID is equal to the ID that we pass to this function. Okay? And then we'll include the user information, and then we'll find that object, right, or that query. Okay, so we'll save this. And now we'll go back to our page. And then I'll refresh it here. And then there's our post, right? It says geopost hello was the user, and then this is the comment, right? Let's go back to the other page and try it on another one. So maybe I'll click on Yay Images, and then it loads this one and the image too, right? So there we go. So this is detail HTML, and it's loading the post with this ID, okay? And so that way, we've got two pages, but they're both working, together. So thanks for watching. I hope that's helpful to somebody, and good luck with all your Parse projects.